Have you ever wondered what exactly should you be including in a title sponsorship? What benefits, what assets, what are the important things that you should include when working on a title sponsorship? Or maybe you're currently working on a title sponsorship and this is top of mind for you. Well, that's exactly what I'm going to talk about in today's video. Check it out. Before we dive into the video, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and click the bell icon so that you never miss another update. When we talk about title sponsorship, the fact is that there are some things that virtually every title sponsorship should include. And that's what we're going to talk about today. First, what is title sponsorship? It goes by many names. It could be presenting rights, it could be naming rights, it could be title sponsorship. The idea is that you are giving a sponsor, you are selling a sponsor, the most visible assets to your property. For example, it would be the company name podcast, the company name festival. You're actually going to name your property after the sponsor. That's the most important part of title sponsorship. If you aren't naming the opportunity after the sponsor, you're not really describing title sponsorship or naming rights. Festival presented by, that would be presenting rights and not title sponsorship. You actually want to call your opportunity named after the brand, the sponsor. But just naming your opportunity after the sponsor, while it is technically title sponsorship, in my opinion, is not sufficient. So why do sponsors invest in naming rights at all? Well, the exposure is massive because you are going to have their name picked up in all media. Everyone attending or engaging with your property will know who the sponsor is if done right. It's the most visible, but also what people don't realize, it comes with the most benefits and the most activations or engagements to connect with your shared audience. Title sponsorship, naming rights are typically the most expensive and valuable thing you can sell. And so making sure your valuation is right is critical here. So let's talk about what you should include when you are building out a title sponsorship. Well, the most obvious and the most important is name in wordmark, which is to say that you are actually including the brand's name in the title of your opportunity. You're going to name the facility after the brand, after the sponsor. It's not just festival presented by or festival name with a logo underneath. It actually becomes the brand name festival. Name in wordmark means you are including the name of the company in your branded, the name of your property. This makes a lot of people uncomfortable. And yet it's a completely common and accepted practice in the marketplace. If you're not willing to put name in wordmark, you are not offering naming or title sponsorship. You could be offering something else of value, but it's not title sponsorship. Name in wordmark is indeed necessary for it to be title sponsorship, but not sufficient. It takes people a long time to adopt the new name of a building, of an event, of a property, of a sponsorship opportunity. And so title sponsorship, naming rights, in my opinion, should always be multi-year agreements. 3 to 5 years or longer. 10 plus years is even better. It depends on the property and how expensive it is for you to change all the signage, change all of the information related to the property. I was talking to a property once who actually changed the name of the street that their building was on after the sponsor. That type of title sponsorship naming right opportunity really should come with 10 plus years. I don't know how long they signed the agreement for, even if it went through, but that is definitely going to be a long-term naming right given how complicated it is to change street names. Exclusivity is a must when you are talking about title or naming sponsorship. It is very common and really an assumed practice by many that if you have a car company as your title sponsorship, you will have no other automotive companies at your property. Sometimes exclusivity is category exclusivity, which is what I just described. So no other brands from the same category can sponsor your property at all. And property here just refers to any sponsorship opportunity. I don't mean a physical property. Anything can be a property, from a festival to a podcast to an athlete to a sports team to a physical property like a building. Exclusivity could also mean that you won't have any direct competitors, but they're okay with you working with others in the category. For example, a high-end luxury car brand might not mind if you have a low-end or entry-level automotive brand. These are things that you have to actually discuss with your sponsor and get in writing, vetted by a lawyer. Don't assume that you are both operating on the same definition of exclusivity. I had a friend who was dealing with a financial institution, a bank, and they assumed exclusivity meant no other financial institutions. Seems like a reasonable assumption. Well, this bank also has insurance products. And so when they said exclusivity, they also meant no other insurance products. The problem with that, of course, is that this friend of mine was in negotiations with an insurance company. And so then they had to decide whether or not they were going to sell title sponsorship or not. Exclusivity is a normal part of title sponsorship, and it's something you have to be very clear about. And frankly, it's part of why title sponsorship is so valuable, so expensive, because you have to factor in things like opportunity cost. Title sponsorship 100% requires regular fulfillment reports. If you are in a 3 or 5 year engagement with a sponsor, you don't wait until the end of the 3 or 5 years to provide a fulfillment report, only to discover that you missed on some key deliverables, and now you're being asked for a refund, or worse, embroiled in a lawsuit. Plan to send fulfillment reports at least every year. I prefer to do it quarterly for major title sponsorship, or maybe every 6 months. But waiting until the end is a terrible and high-risk endeavor. And here's the thing that everyone forgets when we're talking title sponsorship. They think that just putting the name in Wordmark is enough. It rarely is. So when you are talking title sponsorship, naming rights with a brand, ask them what they're trying to achieve with the title sponsorship, and then make some recommendations about what other activations and engagements you can offer them, either live in person or via contests or virtually or through social and digital. You want to know what their goals are and why they are engaging in title sponsorship. Once you understand their goals, then you write them a prescription for activations. And of course, you want to put these through your valuation calculator, your valuation process, to know exactly what to charge. We're not just giving away activations for free because they're a title sponsor. It becomes part of the overall package. And this really and can significantly increase the value of your title sponsorship. Something people don't realize is that when you engage with a title sponsor, sometimes they require you to actually switch to their product or services. You might actually need to change your bank. You might need to change the official credit card supplier if you're doing credit card offers to your fan base. You might have to switch what drinks you're serving at your property. If you think about it, if you have a title sponsor who is shoe company A, but everybody on the sports team prefers shoe company B, you might have a conflict. It could be outright ambush marketing, and deliberately company B is trying to undermine company A, which is not a good thing. Or it could be that you simply didn't realize what expectations would come with title sponsorship. So you want to get really clear. At one point, we were dealing with an airline company in a major sponsorship deal. And one of the requirements was that we switched all corporate travel to this particular airline. This could be a minor issue, or it could be a major issue. But know that sometimes switching your product and services, as well as the offerings to your audience, will have to change depending on how you negotiate the title sponsorship, which of course is why you should always have a lawyer involved in these negotiations. VIP and hospitality often goes hand in hand with title sponsorship. You want to be giving them VIP opportunities, a chance to perhaps bring their clients, the sponsor's clients and customers, to have amazing experiences, or maybe they want access to some of your talent, some of the thought leaders, some of the athletes within your organization. But know that VIP and hospitality can be very, very valuable as part of a title sponsorship. So make sure you discuss this explicitly. I think at this stage in the game, it goes without saying that digital marketing, of course, should be part of title sponsorship. Again, simply changing the name of your property and then not telling anybody really doesn't deliver any value. But digital marketing is not just putting logos on social media posts. Digital marketing could include blog posts, could include content, could include helping them with their online presence. It could include contests and promotions to get people to follow their social media. There are all kinds of things that could be part of digital marketing. And this is why it's really important that when you're negotiating title sponsorship, you ask the sponsor, the brand, about all of their goals. Because if you can satisfy multiple departments' goals, you can charge way more money in your title sponsorship. Really quickly, some other things that are commonly part of title sponsorship would be tickets and free passes, maybe for employees, maybe for executives and VIPs, but tickets and free passes are a common addition to title sponsorship. And the same is true with giveaways and contests. Brands often want to get their product in front of your audience, or they want to get your audience's contact information by running things like contests. And of course, sampling rights can be a great way to get people to try a new product, to get feedback from the marketplace on a new product, and to build awareness not of a brand, but of an actual product. Employee engagement can be a big part of title sponsorship. And so make sure, again, when you're having these conversations with your potential sponsors, you're asking them about all of their marketing needs as well as their HR, recruitment, retention, and employee engagement satisfaction needs. In other words, when we're talking about rules of title sponsorship and naming rights, it should be completely custom and should involve plenty of negotiations and discussions. Title sponsorship and naming rights is not a one-call close. You're going to have multiple meetings, multiple negotiations. Both parties' lawyers will almost certainly be involved. Your lawyer should absolutely be involved. And you want to customize everything, but it should happen through discovery. Don't just assume that all they want to do is put a logo on a sign on the front of your building or make you change the name of your podcast. It will go beyond that if we're talking about a good, deep relationship with a title sponsorship. Now, if you are currently working on a title sponsorship and you're not sure if you are ticking all the boxes, I would invite you to book a call with my team. Head on over to sponsorshipcollective.com, click the book a call button, and jump into a strategy session with a member of my team just to make sure that you've got everything lined up appropriately. All right, down below in the comments, I would love it if you could share your biggest takeaway. What's the one thing that really stood out to you? And if you like this video and want me to keep making free content like this available, give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, don't forget to click the bell icon.